Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And this morning, we are going to have a fantastic conversation with a wonderful guest who's going to show you that absolutely anything is possible. Emy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Where are you calling in from this morning?
I'm in North Carolina.
The Carolinas, gotta love them. Well, I'm in Florida here, so I'm not too far away from you. So, tell me and tell us what led you to Legendary.
Well, a long story of um, trouble with finding out that I have a physical and mental disabilities, and I was jumping from job to job and having a lot of difficulty. Um, so I have a condition called POTS, which makes it very hard to stand for long periods of time and even sit for long periods of time. And I also struggle with mental disabilities. And so I was looking for something where I could be in control and I didn't have to ask a boss or somebody else to accommodate everything that I have,
Mm,
because they would pick and choose at different jobs which ones they would accommodate.
yeah.
And I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw someone talking about being able to make as much money as you want from home. Um, and so I dove deeper into it a little bit and I found Legendary.
Here we are.
Yes.
We're, what did you think when you started to listen to some of the videos and you began to take the 15-day challenge? What was your initial reaction?
Um, this does not seem possible. It might be um, someone else just trying to do like a scam or something like that. Um, but it's absolutely not.
And now you realize that that's a pretty normal feeling, right? That, to think that something's too good to be true. And I want you to speak to other people who are listening out there who have mental illness, who have physical disability, etc. Talk to us, and because I have addiction, and I have, I struggle with mania myself. More kind of not depression as much, but the opposite of kind of mania, right? Um, Talk to our friends out in our community who feel like it's the double whammy. It's too good to be true, and it can't happen for me because I have disabilities and limitations. What would you say to those people who are thinking, or experiencing that?
I would say that it is possible. It may take a little bit of time and a lot more work, but it is possible. I just recently got my first four-figure commission from it, and I've been doing this since October.
Mm,
But I have learned so much about myself and about my view on the world and about other people, and that I am not one to accept failure of myself or defeat of myself. I will work until I see something, because if I accept failure or defeat for myself, then other people who have said that about me would be right, and I don't accept that.
so what have you learned about yourself that you either weren't sure about before, or you completely didn't know?
Um, I learned that I need to think through things a
Mm,
lot more than it seems for other people, and it takes me longer to form a thought.
mm,
And I didn't realize before this, but I am very bad at lying, and I did not know this. And it came to my attention when on one of my lives that someone said to me that out of everyone she has seen or noticed doing this similar thing is that I'm one that she can trust because she feels that I always speak my truth and I'm always myself.
Mm. Well, that's a great gift that you found out about yourself. And how does that feel to hear that those positive affirmations from people who were otherwise complete strangers?
It feels very good.
Yeah. Kind of makes any negative or mean comments that you've heard from other people in the past sort of dissolve a little bit more, maybe not totally go away, because words do hurt, but you know that they're not true, or you're believing that anyways. You're on your way to believing that, right? To believing and realizing and almost being reintroduced to yourself, or introduced to yourself for the very first time. That's kind of how I felt on my path to entrepreneurship. I was like, I didn't even know this about myself. I didn't even know that I had work ethic. I didn't even know that I thought I was lazy, but it was really just that I hated going into the jobs that I had. You know, it wasn't, once I found something that I was passionate about, I would work into all hours of the night. Have you found that you really have an amazing work ethic too when you're passionate about something?
Yes, yes. Whenever I think of something, I will work on it. I won't just put it to the side like I might have at other jobs before, but when I'm passionate about it, I will continue to always think about it, and I will go until I see results and I am happy with what I have done.
Yeah, that's great. And you're building confidence because of it, right? It's like there's no better confidence builder than entrepreneurship. Whether you're working a lemonade stand on the side of your street, or whether you're doing an online business. Now, this, Emy, isn't your first venture. You've done some offline, not online, offline MLM and stuff like that. Talk to us about why this online venture is different and what's better about it for you.
Being online compared to in person.
Yeah, and things that you've done in the past, such as the MLM venture that you did previous to this. I don't know what that was, but you had said to us that you have done MLM in the past, just not online. It was all in person.
Yes. Um, I would say that online and more entrepreneurship than MLM is that you're not constantly fighting or struggling to try to be on top.
Mm.
Here, you are more going at your own pace and doing it how you want to do it. And you don't have to ask someone before you do something if it's going to cost you getting someone below you. In an MLM, I was standing on the side of the road asking people to sign up for nonprofits. Um, and I constantly had to find people to be underneath me so that I wouldn't have to be on the street anymore. Um,
You
and
could have them go be on the street.
yes,
That's MLM for you, Emy, isn't it?
yes,
Oh boy.
yes. And that I really struggled with that because I didn't want to get people onto my group because I didn't want them to have to go do what I had been through.
You're so sweet. Oh, Emmy. I did something similar. I lived on a house that was on a main street, okay? Ninth Avenue in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I got into an MLM. And I thought, "Oh my god, I live on a main street. I'm going to put signs out there and be rich," right? Cuz so much traffic, right? I'd wake up every morning, of course got no calls. In my signs had always been kicked over by a homeless person sometime throughout the night. Oh my god. Oh, Emmy, 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 Emmy. It's a wild world out there, isn't it?
Yes.
Some of the things we try for money, it's just hilarious.
Yes.
Um, so now you're online. What was it like for you, especially with some of the things that are your struggles, which you are turning into your strengths? And I like your TikTok handle. Okay,
Thank you.
I like that a lot. What was it like for you to go on to camera and be on camera, put yourself out there?
Um, Actually, I thought it would be a lot more difficult than it turned out to be because when I'm on camera and talking to people, I have a better time of communicating than when I'm out in person communicating with people.
Mm.
So I learned that about myself, and um, I learned that people are going to judge you no matter what you do, and whether you have like a social media where you just post pictures on Instagram, you're going to be judged whether you put something out there where you're talking about online education. They're going to judge you no matter what you do, and how you do it. So just do it.
Girlfriend, I hear that loud and clear. So whether you're posting cute cat pictures or whether you're posting edutainment content that makes you money, they're going to judge you no matter what. So you might as well make you some dadgum money, huh?
Yes.
So I love it. And it's very true. It's very true. And so, how do you deal with negative comments? How do you deal with trolls who, leave comments on either your videos or if you go live? I mean, that can be a different, strategy of whether you're just kicking them out or whatever, but or whether you're but how do you deal with it? Do you just block them? Do you just move forward? Does it sting less when somebody says something negative online now than it did at the beginning? Talk to us how you deal with your haters.
Um, in the beginning, it did hurt a little bit more than now, but I don't look for the negative comments. I look for the positive comments. And I look to see if anyone has heard what I had to say or felt that it changed their life in some way, because I am going to remember those more than I remember someone saying, "Oh, you look funny when you talk," or "you're slow," or something like that.
Mm. I would like to just say that I experience you as calm and clear and amazing. I
Thank
just
you.
want to, yeah. And that's how everybody else experiences you. So I'm glad that you're focused more on the positive feedback than the negative, because the positive is when somebody's giving you positive feedback, they're an abundant mindset and they're not afraid, they're not, judging, they're giving of themselves and they're not afraid to give somebody a piece of their, let somebody else have the limelight. And those are the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with. It's people that feel good enough about themselves to compliment you, right? And to actually notice the positive things about you, because we all have positive things about us. We all do, I mean, I'm even thinking again, reading your handle, struggle is strength. I've had anxiety my whole life, really, really. really bad anxiety. That's something else that I struggle with. But you know what? It makes me more cautious. It actually can be a strength. It makes me think I'm a big risk taker, but I've got a lot of anxiety. So it kind of balances. It kind of creates a little bit of a balance for me. A lot of people have noticed that with their ADHD. They can be really kind of all over the place, but when they finally find something that they're interested in, they realize, wow, I can also really, really, really focus, you know? And so how what has it been like for you to be so open and honest with some of your physical and mental disabilities that maybe sometimes people would be more hesitant to share out of fear of judgment? What has it been like for you to actually share some of your struggles, some of the things that you deal with on a day-to-day basis with strangers, with your audience?
I find it more freeing and easier to just go ahead and put everything out on the table and let everyone know everything about me, because once they do that and they don't come up later and be like, oh, she didn't tell us about that, or oh, she's hiding that, then they won't have as much trust in me, compared to if I lay everything out and I'm honest about myself and my struggles that I am turning into strength and using for myself and not against myself.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You're doing something. Is there one particular thing that you find that you talk about that you find people respond to? Is it one particular, part of yourself or your story that really you have found that people really kind of are inspired or engaged by or can relate to? What did you share that you were surprised that people would respond so passionately to you about and connect with you about?
I found that a lot of people connected with my physical disability, my POTS, um, and not being able to walk or sit for long periods of time. I got a lot of people who said they could relate to me because they had it as well, or they know someone who has it, or they were willing to share about their physical disability with me. And when I shared that, I had a lot of people come in and feel as though they could talk to me or they could trust me because they could relate to me somehow in that way.
Well, there's a lot of people just even in the comments right now. I mean, Donna says, my daughter has ASD, would love to talk to you. I mean, whether it's somebody, and there's tons of, really proud of your tenacity. I mean, love this young, wise lady. You need to come back and you need to read all these. I agree with Dave. You sound so calm and clear. What is it like to, I mean, for me, when I first actually had people like really noticing the positives about me, it was really it was really a huge confidence booster. I mean, do you believe the things that people are saying about you? Do you really take these in and receive these compliments and know how amazing you are doing and how amazing you are?
At first, when I was younger and I would be complimented, I didn't take it into account as much as I do now, because I would think that they were talking down or just feeling bad for me and then saying it in that way.
Yeah.
But now, after actually talking to people and knowing that it is genuine and they do actually see that I do have positive parts about me, and they're not just trying to talk down to me, but they want to actually talk with me and interact with me. I love them now, and I cherish the positive compliments and comments.
And that's a very great point. I love that you brought up just people talking down to you, because a lot of times we don't realize, and when I say we, I just mean people, right? And I always include myself because I am a person, I'm not above anything. We can get condescending. We can talk down to people, right? Sometimes we can even go and have some immediate success and think that we're a hot shot, and then all of a sudden, we kind of get an attitude. Um, it's so important, I found for myself, to really pay attention to how I'm talking to people in my audience, right? Because even as I become this online influencer and this kind of person that people are, even if you're one or two people are listening to you, you're influencing them, right? I mean, whether you like that term or not, it doesn't matter. Um, it's such a great quality if any of you have a nurturing nature. I mean, I can see from you that you don't have a condescending bone in your body. You're a very sweet, kind, calm, and caring person. And but I'm sharing for the rest of us, right? Out, who are out here in internet land. We got to be careful how we talk to our audience. We got to be careful how we talk to people, because a lot of times we can be pitching our products, or we can be pitching our services, or we can be sharing our value, and we can actually be talking down to people and not even realize it. And people can actually feel judged, right? Like they're not doing, like we're thinking that our solution is better than theirs, or than what they're doing, and they don't feel safe to actually approach us. How do you stay approachable? How do you invite people to reach out to you and make them feel safe to do so?
I would say that I just try to talk to people as if I was trying to become their friend, and just getting to know them and wanting to talk to them more than just one time on the internet.
Mm.
I try to make it as if I am becoming a friend to them and want to get to know them and to get to know what they are struggling with and see if I can help them in some way.
I love that, because nowadays the internet has like become such a swipe right or swipe left kind of culture, right? It's like, and that's the dating app kind of, that's what people do on dating apps. Tinder and all these apps are kind of like, people are just pictures now. And I really like, in entrepreneurs do it too. You make one sale and then don't care if the customer ever buys again, right? That's a mindset. But what you're saying is, treat the person like you're going to have an actual relationship with. Like, even if they buy, like, especially when they buy something from you, you're going to talk to them again. Let them know, make them feel that whether you buy something from me or not, I'm still willing to have a relationship with you. Now, I might not have as close of a relationship if you're not a customer, right, of mine, because I'm going to treat my customers, people who are actually doing business with me, I'm going to make them a priority, but I'm still going to treat you with respect, and I'm still willing to have a relationship with you even if you don't buy something from me right away. And I love that, Emy, because a lot of times when you talk to people, you can see it. If as soon as you don't do what they want you to do, they might say something nasty or become rude or even block you. And immediately you're thankful that you didn't do business with them, because you knew that they were not interested in any more than a quick buck. So I love that you said that. I love that, and that's beneficial from a marketing standpoint, because sometimes it takes people multiple exposures before they become comfortable to actually buy. Have you noticed that as well? That people either tell you, or you'll notice somehow from looking at something in your business that, hey, this person watched me for a couple of weeks or has been watching before they actually decided to take action.
Yes, I have noticed that um, on my lives on TikTok. I always try and write down people's names that I see multiple times. And I noticed that it takes people multiple times to come on and watch what I have to say before they interact with me at all.
Mm, before they even comment. By
Yes, before comment.
So they have to come on and actually see you and listen to you before they you notice that before they're gonna be they're comfortable enough, they feel comfortable enough to comment or engage in any way, that they've probably watched a few or even attended a few of your lives.
Yes, and I always make sure, even if they decide not to comment that day, to at least say hi to them again.
Mm. That's not the first time I've heard that from people. Emy is writing down names. I think I heard that from Amy Hires at our last mastermind. She was talking about that very same thing. And as a matter of fact, she handed out pens in notebooks as an example, or as a, to kind of try to encourage people to write down people's names as they came on her lives, because or they come on your lives, because you can, of course, you can write them down as you see them coming on. You can shout them out. You can write them down. If you go live 7 days, you could write those names down right next to each other, and you could see that, oh man, this person, Emmy's been on for 3 days in a row. Or I think when we have that a small following, it's all the more important to do those little things, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, so what was going live like for you? What was that? I mean, how did you? Were you anxious? How did you build up the courage? What was it like the first time you did it?
The first time I did it, I still had some of those thoughts and mindsets of um, they are going to say like negative things, or they're gonna um, judge me or something like that on my live, and write things as I'm trying to talk to people and educate people. Um, or not many people will come on because of how I speak. But after I did it one time, I felt very confident after, because of that non eye contact that I realized after I did it for the first time, and not being actually face to face with someone. I was able to overcome all of that and see all of the positive comments. And I really enjoyed doing it and getting to meet new people that way.
That's really, really cool, Emmy. And so that's helpful for you. And you mentioned that a few moments ago, but now I'm putting the pieces together. You feel more comfortable communicating through, camera or virtually, than you do in person. And because it's more comfortable, because you don't like to, it makes you feel anxious to make eye contact with people. Is that right?
Yes.
That makes so much sense. Hell, I think a lot of us can relate to that. And I don't have autism. So I can't imagine what that's like for you. And I'm glad that this is so much easier for you. And it just so happens that this is the direction that our world is moving in anyways. So it's not a huge, it's not a big deal that, it's actually completely, for all of us, it's a completely legitimate and high paying career path to work from home, whether you're working for yourself or whether you're working for a company working from home. It's a, again, there was a time at which you needed to show up in the factory. You needed to be at the retail store and able to earn a paycheck. But nowadays it's just not the case. Um, are you interested or passionate about talking to other young people, specifically people with disability? Do you shout those particular people out, or do you just find that sharing your authentic story impacts anybody who's listening?
I If I see someone who has a disability like mine or not like mine, I don't usually shout them out because I know for me that in the past might be uncomfortable. So I try to respect them in that way, but I just make sure that I am completely open and honest about everything going on with me and everything about myself, that I try to just bring people in that way.
Yeah. I really like that. And there's no person who can help us better understand how to respect people than, somebody like yourself, somebody who has a particular disability. That's helpful. And that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. There's so many people in the comments who are just really, relating and identifying and being inspired by your story here and your desire to share so vulnerably. And that's really been the secret to your success, right? I mean, it's not been anything like super secret special that people couldn't do, right? It's really just letting people, it's being vulnerable, not to open yourself up for hurt, but to allow others to feel safe listening to you, knowing that you are telling them the full truth about who you are and what you're doing. Does that feel like it fits?
Yes, yes. Um, I think that being open and vulnerable at first might bring in negativity that you don't want, but eventually you will form a group and a lot of people who are there behind your back to support you.
I found that to be true as well. I found that to be true as well. When I first started marketing in 2000 and like 9, 2010, um, I was sharing my story of homelessness, addiction, so forth, because that's what I had been doing not too long ago. So it was pretty relevant. I didn't have a big success story to talk about, so I kind of had to talk about what I had already overcome, which was basically just kind of rising up from the ashes, if you will. It wasn't like I had achieved all of this success. And I've not found, since I've been doing this, a more powerful way to connect with people than to share things that you've overcome in your life. And even more importantly, things that you're overcoming personally right now in order to do what you're doing. It's not mansions. I mean, I've got lots of stuff that I could be sharing every day on this Wake Up Live, or things I could be posting in videos or stuff that would be cool, maybe impress people. But I found that those things don't connect. People don't connect to those. They might be impressed for a minute before they start feeling jealous or envious, or right. These are all real things that people feel, right? A lot of times it's not helpful to see somebody else's wealth. It's helpful to hear somebody else's story of what they've overcome. And that's a lot more motivating than somebody showing me all of their wealth, right? Because I can't even relate to that anyways. And so this is, although it's different details, Emy, in different, struggles, this is exactly how I made my, I guess, first steps into this career path. And it was to use what I had. I didn't have a success story. Everybody comes in and they say, well, how do you do this or promote that product or get into this niche without a success story? You create one. None of us have dadgum any success when we first start with something. We got to go out there and we got to create it, and we got to use what we have. And each one of us has this beautiful gold mine of experiences and life stories and struggles that, let me say it like this: we all have a mess that we can turn into a message if we want to. And there's nobody better to speak on that than you, Emy. Turning something that maybe even before you thought was a liability only, but now realizing that, hey, these are assets. I can use these to share with people to help them to not feel like they're alone. And in doing so, I create community and I build trust. And then I can make recommendations that people will buy, that they will get value from. And in turn, I can make a living doing that. And that's a beautiful, beautiful way to make a living. Do you agree with that in terms of how the business model itself works? That you deliver value and you establish trust. And once you do, you make recommendations for products and services that help people, and in turn, you get to make a living. Isn't that a good way to summarize what we do?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And if you want, you can then create your own courses, coaching, or events, but you don't ever have to. You can just recommend other people's products and services or digital products and continue to make a living that way. When you saw these business models that we were explaining the core for, was it a breath of fresh air? Was it a relief to you to be able to sell digital products on the internet versus the physical products in person? And what else have you discovered that you really like about this business model that, that others may not realize yet because they're still new?
Yes, I like doing everything digitally because I don't have to worry about having that physical product that might be damaged or might get lost or might not give the same kind of value when I give it to them compared to if they can get it right then and there at their fingertips. Um, like if I have a physical product and it takes a while to get to that person, then they might lose their excitement about it compared to digitally. They have it right there and they can go in at their own time and do as much or as little as they want with it, but it's always there. And with this business model, my favorite part is doing it anywhere at my own time, because going in at like a 9 to 5 was harder, both mentally and physically for me. But I tend to work better in afternoon and night. And so if I'm able to make the same amount of money just being at home and working when I feel my best,
Yeah,
then that is my favorite part.
that makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people work better at different times of the day, maybe feel more clear, feel more motivated, or have actually more energy. I mean, this is, I think it's important to, learn our bodies, and even our bodies can change over the years. We may become more of a morning person, so to have the flexibility ability to adjust our schedule is such a it's such a blessing. It's also a great way to do self-care. I mean, it's like really paying attention to what, when what do I want my perfect morning to look like? This is another question that we can ask ourselves as we're starting this journey. And maybe you're somebody that likes to jump out of bed at 5:30 in the morning, go to the gym, or go for a run, or go outside and do some push-ups, and have your coffee and start work at 6:30 on the dot after you've taken a cold shower, because if you ain't taking cold showers, you ain't successful. Right? I mean, maybe you're that kind of person and you're just, ready to rock at 7:30. But maybe you're somebody who likes to wake up a little bit slower, likes to sit around and listen to the birds in the backyard like we're doing right now with you. Have a little bit of coffee or whatever you drink in the morning, a nice cup of water or something like that, maybe some hot water with some lemon in it. I don't know, whatever you like, right? Maybe you'd like to have another cup or three, maybe some bacon and some eggs, and start work around 11 a.m., right? Have a late lunch around 2 p.m., right? Then and go on a nice nature walk in the afternoon, come back and take a nap, and wake up nice and slowly with a cup of tea, and then have a light dinner before you watch a little bit of show and head to bed at around 10 o'clock. I mean, I don't know what your perfect day is, people, but it's nice to be able to have the flexibility to be able to create that perfect day. What is, if you could just summarize in a nutshell, what is your perfect day, and what are you learning about what your perfect day really is, that in what you really like, that you may not have known before when you didn't have that space because you were running into to work?
Um, well, I realized that yes, self care is very important, and my day looks very different now. Um, Before I started doing this, I didn't have self care, which landed me in both an actual hospital and a mental hospital because it broke me down and I wasn't able to relax and create my plan and do what I needed to do to be in control of myself and my mind. But now I wake up about 9:30 or 10, and then I sit and read a little bit to calm my brain and to get into more of a controlled state and to give my body time to be able to stand up. Um, and then I go and I make breakfast and I sit and relax and eat it rather than rushing and eating it in a car.
Amen.
And after that, I will make my plan for the rest of the day, um, making videos or going to get something that I need at a store, um, and maybe go for a walk and get everything straight and ready to be focused and be 100% for the rest of the day.
Wow, what a beautiful what a beautiful morning that you just described. And I think a morning that any one of us would be happy with. I know for me, I used to think that I wanted to be in a 20-room mansion and be flying, traveling the world all the time. And I'll tell you what, really the only thing that I want to do is just sleep in, hang out around the house, right? Have a little bit of coffee in the morning, not have to rush out to go anywhere. Come on over, do Wake Up Legendary at 10 a.m., have a nice conversation, have another cup of coffee. I mean, similar things. It takes me a little while to get ready and get my plan. But you mentioned such a great word, plan. You know, it takes time to make a plan. I mean, I got to wake up in the morning and get the cobwebs, spray a little WD-40 up in there, and get the wheels turning. You know what I mean? It takes a little while. And you're right. You also mentioned another thing that that I think we take for granted. Actually being able to sit down and in a relaxing way have breakfast and not be rushing with it out the door. Emy, thank you for reminding all of us how nice that is to just sit down and just have a breakfast that you're not rushing or throwing in your mouth as you're walking out or worse yet, how about this one? Not eating anything at all because you don't have time.
Yes.
And do you want to know how effective I am when I don't eat anything in the morning?
Not good.
Not very effective at all. you know so I wonder how often you sit back in that backyard and listen to those beautiful birds.
Every day.
Mm. It's nice to be home with them as well, and be able to enjoy nature right there in the backyard, right?
Yes.
Very happy for you. Very happy for you, and so is everybody here that's listening in. Give us one final piece of advice, but I want you to give it to yourself. What advice would you give yourself if you were just getting started out today?
Remember to always be 100% yourself and share it with others, and the right people will come, and the right people will want to listen to you and to follow you. And don't give up, because if you give up on yourself, you are the last person who has given up on you. If other people have, then you can't take that away from you if you don't give up.
Yeah. Mm. Well, you have filled our bellies and our hearts with inspiration and fire this morning. You really deserve to go back and, of course, read some of these amazing comments that people have left for you. And I want to tell you that I am inspired. I am so blessed that you decided to take a risk on yourself and bet on yourself, because you are going to be the best bet that you ever make. Okay, you're going to be the best bet that you ever make, and the goals that you set for yourself right now, when you actually get to that point, say a year down the road, I want you to make goals, and I want you to see how you'll have shortchanged yourself, how you're going to accomplish so much more than you even think is possible. And I'm just glad to see here the beginning and hopefully be a part of the journey as you continue to soar. And so please come back and see me and share, a follow up of your journey. I'm sure everybody will be, so thrilled to hear an update in a couple of months. And of course, everybody go follow Emy on TikTok at struggle_is_strength. Struggle_is_strength. And of course, she's also over on Instagram at Financially Free with Emy, and it's EMY. Emy, thank you so much for your time today, and keep up the fantastic work. Stay legendary, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Okay.
All right, my friends, there you have it. There you have it. Yet another extremely inspirational episode with a fantastic guest. My friends, please go follow Emy. Even though you're going to be learning from her, even though you're going to be feeling inspired from her, go follow her and support her, lift her up. Okay. She's blazing the trail for a lot of people. Okay. A lot of people who felt, we, all of us already have, even if you don't have disabilities, you wonder, can I do this? And so, God bless anybody who is showing the world what's possible, no matter what the odds. And she's the poster child for that. And so lift her up, protect her. She's a treasure for all of us. We need each other to be inspired and to remember that anything's possible. Remember that we can turn our struggles into our strengths. Remember that you may have a mess, but you can turn that mess into a message. It's possible. Okay. And if you're wondering how, just look around at people like Emy. Look around and you'll see exactly how it's done. All right, my friends, we'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Get out of here. Peace. Have a wonderful day. And thanks again, Dad.